Alright guys, so today we're going to be reacting to Star Spangled Banner as you have never heard it before. I remember watching, this is not my first time watching this video, I watched it a couple years ago. Very emotional video, very emotional. I don't know if I'm going to make it this one. Strong ties. I've been singing this national anthem since I was a little kid, back in Puerto Rico. You know, I started playing baseball when I was like, 4 years old? All the way when I was 25. Always singing the national anthem, and plus I was in music band, so we used to play this thing all the time. And even for my bachelor's degree, I was the pianist, playing the national anthem with the singer. So it's all the, it's very close to my heart. As an American, but as a Puerto Rican as well. And don't get it twisted. From Puerto Rico, there's a lot of patriots down there, man. There's a lot of patriots. Whoever tells you the difference, not telling you the truth. There's a lot of people that hate the country, like always, everywhere here. Even in the mainland, the people hate the country for some stupid reason. I don't know why. But we have patriots down there. One of the Puerto Rico's a state. One of the biggest when it comes down to veterans. I think we have over almost 100,000 veterans down there. Very strong patriotic roots. Strong when it comes down to an emotional statehood. Clearly we want to become part of the nation, but of course this is going to take years of negotiations and understanding, most importantly, right? Because this is not easy, right? But I don't want to get into it. Star Spangled Banner. Let's jump in. Whew.
There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the National Anthem. It is our song as an American. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child, but we've never really thought about what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Because of this conflict and the protractedness of it, they had accumulated prisoners on both sides. The American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They said, we want to send a man out to discuss this with you. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore. And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange. On the appointed day, in a rowboat, he went out to this boat and he negotiated with the British officials. And they reached a conclusion that men could be exchanged on a one-for-one basis. Francis Scott Key, jubilant with the fact that he'd been successful, went down below in the boats, and what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity, men. And he said, men, I've got news for you tonight. You're free. He said, tonight I have negotiated successfully your return to the colonies. He said, you'll be taken out of this boat, out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to arrange for their passage to the shore, the admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem. He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. It won't matter. And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean? He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort Henry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, how are you going to do that? He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet.
Wow.
He said, all of the gunpowder, all of the armament is being called.
Think about it. When it comes down to naval war, the British are in the top of the list, man. These people, when it comes down to naval war and naval ships, these people are in top shape, man. You getting back in the 18th century, you're getting bombarded by that kind of monster, man. It just, it just makes you think, really, the spirit of Americanism.
Called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in a matter of about 2.5 hours. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, you can't shell that fort. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. They said, don't worry about it. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately.
Oh, my God.
And we'll know that they've surrendered, and you'll now be under British rule.
F that.
Francis Scott Key went down below and told the men what was about to happen.
Hard decision.
And they said, how many ships? He said, hundreds. The ships got closer. Francis Scott Key went back up on top and he said, men, I'll shout down to you what's going on as we watch. As twilight began to fall, and as the haze hung over the ocean as it does at sunset, suddenly the British war fleet unleashed. He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. And he says from down below, all he could hear the men, the prisoners, saying was, tell us where the flag is. What have they done with the flag? Is the flag still flying over the rampart? Tell us. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling, every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb, and Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up. It's not down. The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them?
Yeah.
He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees.
There we go. Now you guys understand why we don't believe in kneeling for the flag. It's an act of submission. Even in the Civil War, between soldiers, they would just shame other soldiers for kneeling and shooting because it was an act of submission and cowardness. I know there's a lot of Europeans out there. You guys make fun of the American way of thinking, right? But it comes from a position of Christianity, of course, but most importantly, the concept of freedom. Right, and we're not expecting for Europeans and all the folks in the world to understand our way of life. We're not expecting that. As simple as that. It's like me not expecting you guys to change the way of life or the way you guys think about things. We are a very new nation, and I'm okay with that.
The admiral said, we have now instructed all of the guns to focus on the rampart to take that flag down. He said, we don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that. But he said, now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point. Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful.
Damn, man.
All that he could hear was the men down below praying. The prayer, God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it. Sunrise came. He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top. Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort Henry to see what had happened. And what he'd found had happened was that that flagpole and that flag had suffered repetitious direct hits. And when it had fallen, but men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly until they died. Their bodies were removed and others took their place.
My God.
Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. He penned the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Or the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet fly and wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Let me compose myself here, man. Ooh, not easy. Not easy. Okay. Beautiful. Damn, it's hard to compose. All right. Damn. Yeah, we're not looking for empathy over here, man. As a nation, we're not looking for empathy. It's a lot of dark energy in this country. They're just trying to destroy the nation. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. But thinking about those that really give the ultimate sacrifice, just spitting in their grave, man. For some reason, besides 1776, I always go back to the Civil War because that was rough, man. That was rough, man. Brothers against brothers. Again, it's just that black energy trying to destroy the country, man. And at the same time, that energy just make us this great superpower. It's like the energies go around crazy. I don't know how to explain it. Our politics weird. People don't understand it. At the same time, it's up to us to, of course, to protect the nature. Just give it to our future generations. Man, it's hard. Every time that I hear that anthem, man, it gets to me. Every time. And, you know, some people don't understand why we place the allegiance to the flag. It's what it means for us. It doesn't need to make sense to you guys. It doesn't. See, that's the thing. It does not need to make sense to people. That's what people don't understand. We as Americans, we're okay with that. We respect what the flag represent to us. And that's okay. You guys don't have to understand it. Yeah, that's one of the things that I notice people saying like, "Oh, why you guys play to the flag?" Because it means a lot to us, man. It's the only thing that keep us together. That meaning of American or Americanism is what keep us together. Wherever you're coming from, you come from Middle East, Europe, East Europe, Latin America, whatever you're coming from, Asia, you come to this country. This is the only thing that keep us together. Because it's easy to get dismantled. Easy, very easy. But this is what keep us together. I think when it comes down to um, reacting to European videos and all the cultures, right? It always comes down to that, like, you Americans, you Americans. I'm not that type of guy, man. I'm not the apologist when it comes down to Americanism. I'm not that guy. I like to learn from other countries and respect other countries. However, man, I'm not here to just say, "Ah, yeah, be Americans. We do things wrong." No, man, I'm not. I'm not that type of guy. No, I'm not that type of guy. Guys, if you're expecting that from this channel, you're not getting this. No, you're not getting that. Nah. You might expect things from other channels, right? Because they're trying to make money, right? By appealing to their audience. I'm not that person, right? I understand that me as an American, or we as an American, we have a lot of flaws, and that's fine. We're human. This is a country built by humans, so you're expecting flaws, but pretending that we are perfect, that's the wrong, approach to these things, right? And I'm okay to always contribute to this project and moving forward, but I'm respecting my flag wherever I go. Wherever I go. Wherever I go, I will stand up for my national anthem. Wherever, if I'm the only one standing, let it be. Let it be known to the world that I am an American. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.